All right, welcome back, you guys, to another agent interview. I've got another one of our coaching clients with me, Miss Allison Gilmore. Allison, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. And I think, like we were just talking off air, I think these interviews really impact a lot of real estate agents because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's a very difficult business. There's a very small percentage of agents that are actually going to really succeed in this industry, and the failure rate's so high. So I want to walk people through your story and what you're doing to succeed. So tell us, what market are you in, and how long you've been selling real estate now?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got licensed in November of 2017.
Got it. Okay, cool. So I guess what led you to get in the industry in the first place?
I went through 2016. I went through a bad divorce. My dad died. I just had a lot of stuff going on. I was an operations manager at one Lifetime Fitness, a big fitness place here.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I did that for 5 years. And I've always loved real estate. I have aunts and uncles that buy tons of real estate and family. And after I got divorced, I tried to get into insurance, got licensed for insurance and did it for 3 months and hated it.
Yeah.
So I just decided that this is something I've always been passionate about, and I tried out.
Nice. What kind of insurance was it?
It was PNC and life.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you, we had a large PNC agency. I had a ton of agents on my team and had one of the largest all-state agencies back in the day, and we sold it. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, huh?
And you know, it's funny. We use the same principles and tactics that we use today in the real estate industry and the insurance industry. But so that makes sense. So you get into the business 2017. Tell us what was it like starting, if you can remember back, because you started back right when the market really, I mean, it was a good market from a seller's market perspective. Things were selling, values were going up. Do you remember back what it was like when you first got started and some of the early struggles?
Yeah, I didn't have actually my first deal until August of 2018. So I had a couple of rentals that I worked on, but I didn't really have my first deal. And I did open houses, but I felt like I was a professional student for the first 6 months. So
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
a lot of classes I took, and until I started feeling comfortable actually going out to the open houses. And I got my first listing. It was a for sale by owner. I got it door knocking for an open house that I was doing, somebody else's open house.
Nice. You know, and the thing is, I really I like spending a little time here because I think there's so many new people getting in the industry, Allison. And, you know, when it comes to expectations, I believe that expectations for most people getting in the industry are not set properly. Do you feel like you were set up to win, or did you find out after you got in the business, like, holy crap, I didn't think it was going to be like this?
I kind of had an idea that it was going to be hard just because from the insurance aspect of it, and I've owned a couple other businesses on my own, so I know that it's not a cakewalk. You have to work at it. So I knew that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, because I think a lot, and you're right. You came from, well, you knew what it was like being in business. You had some business background. You had some sales background. I think a lot of people that get in the industry have neither. They don't have any business background, no sales background, and they find out very quickly, like, you don't just get your license and the phone starts to ring, does it? Like, so what would you say to a lot of the newer agents, I guess, Allison, that are getting in the industry who do believe, like, well, you know, they don't spend any time thinking about how am I going to get new clients. They think they're just going to get their license and somehow they're just going to succeed. Like, do you believe that's possible, or do you think they got to actually have a plan, prospect every single day?
You have to have a plan. And I think I've told you before, I'm a very part-time agent,
Yep.
just because I have a lot personally going on, and I have kids and stuff. But you have to pick up the phone. You have to pick up the phone or get in front of people. I'm better getting in front of people. So if I know that if I can get on the phone and set up an appointment to be one face-to-face with them, I'm better off that way. But you have to pick up the phone and call people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about it, because I think that's what helps agents the most. How long? Well, first off, when did we meet, and how long have we been working together now?
I joined the program April 12th of this year.
Yeah.
So
So
I've been
just a few
following
months.
you. Yeah, I've been following you since about December of last year. Kind of tried to do it on my own and then realized that, I need a coach. So.
Yeah. So walk us through that, walk us through maybe some of the things that you've learned since we've been working together that have really helped you the most, where you've been in the business for a couple of years now that maybe, you weren't able to do, but now you're able to do it now.
I think the biggest thing, well, one of the things that really changed the way I looked at business was the book Seven Levels of Communication.
Yeah.
That one and The Slight Edge, those two books just really made a big difference for me. And then I love your book too, so I
Yeah.
gotta plug that.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. What would you say is from a standpoint of maybe some of the things you're learning inside of our coaching program that maybe has changed the way you go out there and generate new business now?
I'm not as worried now as when I first got into the business about making the money and about getting the deal. It's
Yeah.
more about helping people and being there for what they need and knowing why they want to sell and what their why is, what they want to accomplish, So, and I think that's big, is just knowing their, not only their history, about where they're going.
I love
So,
it. I mean, really understanding their motivation, their goals,
mhm.
and that allows you probably to connect easier. Where so many agents are so attached to the money and the deal and the commission that they can't even get a deal. So, walk us through maybe, what does your lead generation strategy look like today? What are you doing? What sources of business are you working? And then what is your process for converting those leads?
Okay, so I wish I could. I feel so bad because I wish I could get on the phones every day like everybody does in the program, but
Yeah.
I just can't. I'm not. I want to, and I know in 2 years when my 16-year-old does not need me as much as she does right now, that I will be able to do that. But for right now, I can't. So I get on the phones when I'm able to. Unfortunately, I don't have a set. I've been trying to get a set program, a certain days. Like we've
Sure.
talked about this before. Um, but when I make the phone calls, I'm very committed to making the phone calls, and I know what I'm going to make, and I know I'm going to get at least one or two previews, and then before I stop making them. So, and I still do the script 1.0. I like
Sure.
going, like I said, getting in front of people, and then that's when, and I take everything with me just in case, because you
Love
never
it.
know. So I'm very prepared when I go. I was supposed to have one this morning, a preview appointment. I was at my open house on Saturday, and it was a little slow, so I made 2 phone calls and got 2 appointments. So
I love it. Well, it's funny. That's what I want to talk through because, I love that I mean, listen, most of our industry is part-time. That's the other beautiful thing about your story is like most agents that are probably going to watch this are part-time, and most part-time agents are trying to figure out how do I make this whole thing work? So, you talk about making phone calls, and that scares a lot of people, especially if they don't come from business. It freaks them out. What are you doing, or what have you learned that has changed your mindset that allowed you to start making these calls and start making it so easy for you to set appointments now?
I mean, this is freaking me out just being on the interview
Yeah,
with you. So I used to my heart would race every time I would think about getting on the phone and everything. But I guess the first couple times you do it, you just get over it, because I've gotten some people that are rude to me, but I'm never going to see them again. I just hang up saying, well, try and have a better day.
yeah,
It's just, there's some people that are like that, and you can't change that. So, and those aren't people you want to work with anyway,
yeah.
is the way
And
I look at it.
just not taking it personally, and they're not rejecting Allison, right? I mean, they don't even know Allison, and you're never going to meet Allison. But what are you doing that, like you were saying, you're at the open house, right? So you made 2 calls and you were able to set 2 appointments. Were you always able to do that since you started in the business, or what's changed? How are you able to do that now?
I think the mindset is a huge, just, not knowing that I don't have to have this business, knowing that if they don't need my help, then somebody else will. And maybe they're going to connect with someone else, and that's okay. There's so much business out there. It's
Yeah.
okay. You
I
know,
love it. So you really take the mindset and the approach when you call somebody, it's coming from a place of like, I really want to help this person. And if that person wants or needs my help, awesome. And if they don't, that's okay too. All my job is to do is to go out there and find people that need my help. Is that right?
exactly.
So I guess before you joining our coaching program, what were you doing to get in front of sellers? Or do you think that like it's absolutely necessary that people pick up the phone, even if it scares the you know what out of them? I mean, were you doing anything that allowed you to get as in front of as many sellers as you're getting in front of now?
Open houses. Every time I've had a listing, I've always been, or done an open house, I've been able to pick up a buyer, a seller, or a referral. It's just been, like I said, I'm better in person than on the phone. But just, I don't know what it is. I've done open houses all the time. Making the phone calls. I've been calling for sale by owners, absentee owners, and I just got Remine. So
Awesome.
I'm going to start calling the long term, most likely to sell, 2-story homes, long term. They've been there 25 plus years. So
Love it. So you said to yourself, okay, I'm part-time. I need to make the most efficient use of my time when I'm making outbound prospecting phone calls. So you niched down. So you got 3 really good niches, which is beautiful. What are you saying? And we don't need to get into it too deep, but like what type of an approach do you take on the call that allows you to set that face-to-face appointment?
Um, well, with the absentee owners, it's more just keeping in touch because those are more long term.
Yeah.
And a lot of them here in Arizona, they have multiple properties. So I get on, do a little bit research ahead of time, see how many properties they have, and then talk about, if they have renters in right now, if they have a lease being held up, just talk to them about maybe 3 months ahead of time, sending them a CMA and letting them know where they're at and see if they're interested in selling at that time. So
Love it.
just getting their email and keeping in touch with them.
Yeah, that's
My
great.
biggest problem is I don't do the weekly email. I do
Yeah.
more of a monthly email, and I need to get better at that. So my
Yeah.
follow-up is not as good as it should be. I've had so many deals fall through the crack because of that. So
So yeah, it's ironic. I just did a training right before our interview just now about lead follow-up. And it is amazing how many agents are, proactively going out there trying to build their business. They generate opportunities. They did the hard part, but then they don't follow up effectively enough and they just fall through the cracks. And it's like, oh, I just I just lost tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You did the hard work. So that's so funny. But we'll work through that, make sure we tighten up your systems. But so let's talk about the appointment. When you do set an appointment, what are those typically like? What do you bring? What do you say? What's your approach?
well, I just had one off my listing. It's a horse property, and I actually took my team lead with me. I'm on a team, but we kind of work our own. But every once in a while, I like to take him with me. It
Sure.
was a single woman, and I just thought that it would be a better connection to have both of us there. So we walk in, and I always want to see the house first.
Yeah.
So I set my folder down on the table and have them show me the property and look around the property and everything, point out some nice things, about the property and everything. And then we sit down and we talk, and I go through the CMA, we go through the days on market, give them what I think the sales price should be compared to other properties that have sold and stuff. And then usually for sale by owners, want to go higher.
Yeah. Yeah. Shocker.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a struggle sometimes. But I go through the, selling the home 3 times, everything that and it's stuff I had heard before, but I'd never used. And so I'm using that now. And I think that's what's helping.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And then how are you maybe positioning yourself before you leave that appointment so you can determine if you have an actual listing opportunity for the future or not? What are you doing?
Well, I tell them I'm going to follow up with them the following Monday. I always send a card out thanking them for inviting me out to their house and showing me around. And then basically just following up. So
Yeah.
right now, most people that want to sell want to find something first. So it makes
Yep.
it really hard. I love the reverse contingency that you've taught, and I've
Yeah.
brought that up a few times in listing appointments, and people really like that. So.
Yeah. That's
And then
awesome.
and then also here, the last 3 listings I've had the sellers stay in the home as a post possession for up to a month with no charge. They haven't been charged for it. So that works out well too.
Yeah. That works out really good right now too, for sure. Cool. So how many appointments are you typically going on in a week, and what does your business look like? I mean, are you going on a couple a week, and what does it look like right now?
Very scattered, and I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but it is. I was really busy March, April, May, and June, and then I felt like I like taking July and August off just because it's so hot here, and I like
Yeah.
getting out of town. So now I'm starting to ramp up my business again. I want 5 more listings before the end of the year. I'm
Awesome.
working with about 6 buyers and figure out of 6 or 7, one's gonna probably work out of the buyers. So maybe more, but I'm planning on one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
I
good for
definitely,
you.
yeah. So I definitely want more listings.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going after those now.
Yeah, good for you. Let me ask you this. I always like to kind of just get people's advice for other newer agents or just agents in general that really have never taken a proactive approach to going out there and getting listings as you are now. What maybe advice could you give them if they're just like, well, I just get the business that comes to me. I kind of just wait around for my friends and family. What advice would you give them if they said, okay, I do want to go out there. I do want to make calls. I do want to prospect for new business. What advice could you give them?
Well, for one thing, I think a coach is really important because until I joined your program, I'm more consistent now than I used to be. And I think that's huge. Getting on your coaching calls every week is huge for me. Being able to ask questions, seeing other people, the questions they ask. So I think having a coach is very, very important. And then just, maybe having a role play partner. I've always tried to get an accountability partner, and it's just
Yep.
never worked out. It's
Sure.
never worked out. So I just have to be accountable for myself and know that these are my goals and it's up to me to reach those goals. So,
Yeah.
but a role play partner helps. I have one through the group, Diana, and we talk every Friday.
I love it.
And she's great. We talk probably a little too more about personal stuff and and chit chat, but
Yeah.
we're girls, so
Well, to have a support system though, I think there's a lot of benefit to that as well. And so that's amazing. So good for you. So what does the future look like for you, Allison? Now that you're no longer scared to pick up the phone, you can set appointments pretty much whenever you feel like it. When you look into the future, maybe when you do go full time, what are some of the things you want to accomplish in your career?
Well, I love being on the team and I do it more for socialization. That's the only reason I joined the team was for that. I have a great split with my team lead. So I don't see getting off the team anytime soon. But that's not, I reevaluate it every single year. So I
Sure.
reevaluate where I am and, where I want to be the following year. That's not going to change. I plant my double this year, my goal was to double my income from last year, which is what I've done. I'm going to do. I'm set
Love
on
it.
goal for that. And I'd like to do that again next year. So,
Good for you. So you doubled. So 2021, you'll double your income from 2020, and then 2022, that's the goal to double again.
yes,
And are you going to do
yes,
that primarily in 2022? Do you think through prospecting for new listings? Is that going to be the main focus?
yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Good girl. Good
Definitely.
for you. Good for you. There's a
Yeah.
point, I think, in every agent's career where, working with buyers just becomes exhausting. And like you said, I mean, it's just some buy, some don't. And it's just a lot more controllable business when you focus on listings. So that's amazing. Any last words of encouragement that you would share to maybe an agent out there that is struggling and, really on the edge, I would say, of like, is this career for me or am I missing something? Any last words of encouragement you want to share?
I would just say don't give up. When I first started, I was working an overnight job just to make income. I was doing, I don't know if you know of Rover, I was watching dogs,
Okay.
to just to get by, so I was doing odd jobs outside of the working, my working time, just to get by so I wouldn't have to quit. So, I know a lot of people start out and they have money saved up, and that's great and everything. I didn't. I started from having nothing. And
Yeah.
then just a little personal information. In 2019, I went through breast cancer.
Mm.
And so that took me out for most of 2019. So that's why 2020 was a big year for me. My last reconstruction surgery was January of 2020. And then COVID hit.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. So really, well, good for you. I mean, that shows how strong of a person you really are, Allison. And you're a great mom, and you're an inspiration. We love having you in the group. And you got nothing but runway ahead of you, to really grow a great, great, great business. And you've got a great attitude always. You're always smiling. You got a good mindset. And so nothing but good things are going to come your way. So I really appreciate you doing this. I know it helps a lot of the agents out there. And so I really appreciate you jumping on with me. And I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yep. Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. Take care, Allison. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.